Already.
Okay, we're recording now. So, hi everyone. This is Rafaru here, and welcome to my channel. As you can see, it's not just me today. I have someone very, very, very special. The one, the only, drum roll, da 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 da, with Angel Castan.
Hello,
Yeah,
hello.
so could you introduce yourself for us?
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Angel Caston. I am a graduate of Southern University and A&M College in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, with an accounting and finance degree, and I currently work at an investment bank on Wall Street in New York City.
Yeah, so um, Angel and I actually went to the same university, the one, the only, the Southern University, this HBCU.
Yeah.
And yeah, so actually, the way I met Angel, like I know I wanted to say this was, I think I met you in my sophomore year for the first
Yes,
time.
yes.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, maybe I met you in my freshman year because you're friends with Nikki, but I didn't really know like
you know me.
yeah,
Yeah,
like I was just like, just there, just
yeah.
dancing
I
with
was a honorary tennis member. Yes.
yes, yes. And then like I remember like when I then met you in the College of Business as a sophomore year. I mean I was in as a sophomore. I don't know if you read my ebook, but I actually did mention my encounter with you. I just didn't mention your name.
Got it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I remember I met you after practice,
yeah.
and I think that's when you're campaigning for Miss College of Business and also like doing Thurgood Marshall stuff. And then you were like, I don't know, you were like, I think you're like, hold on, baby, like you know how you are. And then I was like, hi, you're like, man, what's your GPA? And I was like, then I had a form. I was like, and she's like, girl, you need to apply for this. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah. Get your money. Get your money. I live by. Yes.
Yes, I mean, I guess just from that intro, you can guess we're going to be talking about scholarships. And I mean, there's no one else I could think of than to bring, but Angel, she's applied to tons of scholarships and she'll, discuss that. And she actually has her own scholarship. But I mean, I guess, as we get started, I'm just going to start by asking you, Angel,
Yeah.
like, what's your journey been? Like, when was the first time you really applied to a scholarship? Like, what was that experience like?
Let's see. So I think everything kind of started freshman year of high school, actually. I've been looking at different colleges and I just knew like no one could tell me that I was not going to Spelman College in Atlanta. Like I I don't know. I just couldn't imagine not going to Spelman. And so freshman year, my best friend and I, and with our moms, went to Spelman and we toured the campus. It was like, oh, this is so beautiful. And it's all girls school. The boys are across the street and we'll go here. And my mom was like, okay, well, how much does it cost? And they're like, oh, it's close to like, I think at the time it was like 42,000 a year. And she was like, okay, that sounds good. Do you all offer full ride scholarships? And they were like, no, we don't offer full ride scholarships here. And mom was like, oh, okay, thank you for your time. We can leave. And I'm like, did you dreams? Like, did you just say that I could not go to this school because of a scholarship? So yeah, I was very, very upset. And I was just like, okay, what is a full ride? How does that work? How can I get it to go to Spelman? Could not figure out how the heck to get the freaking scholarship to go to Spelman, but I kept taking my ACT. So I knew if you had a high ACT or SAT score that and a high GPA in high school, that would allow room for more scholarships. And so I looked then at Rhodes College in Memphis, Tennessee. And Rhodes College offered me like half scholarship. So basically, I think it may have cost 60,000 to go there when I was looking, and they offered me 30,000, and I'm like, so that means I still have to pay $30,000 a year. So I kept looking, and my dad actually went to Southern, so he was like, no, you're going to Southern. You want to go to HBCU anyway. Like, here's the best option. I'm like, okay. So looked into Southern, applied for the honors college, and because I am an in-state resident for Louisiana, I was able to also get TOPS, which paid for tuition. So that meant that the honors college scholarship covered any other fees after tuition and room and board. So I was like, oh wait, I don't have to pay for school. This is a full ride scholarship. this is what she was talking about. Okay, everything makes sense. And so I got my scholarship the beginning of my senior year of high school for Southern. And that's kind of when things kicked off. I wasn't really applying to every scholarship originally just because I'm like, oh, I'm in high school. Like, I don't have to do it now. Had I known then what I know now, I probably would have been applying to way, way more than what I applied to now. And then when I hit the ground running freshman year of college, I mean, I was getting all kind of information about scholarships, like scholarships for people that wear glasses, scholarships for people.
Wait, please backtrack. Wait, what?
Yeah, yes. No, there's like, I think there's 10 scholarships that are active now for people that wear glasses or contacts. Like, as long as you have some sort of prescribed eyewear, you can get a scholarship.
Wow, I need to get on that.
Yes. Like, and it's the small things. It's like, I think they have one for 250, one for 500, and one for 1,000, but it's typically like, it's the small scholarships for me that added up. And then it came to like finding out about their Good Marshall College Fund and finding out that Southern is one of their partner schools. So they offer large scholarships to Southern University students. And so I started applying for their Good Marshall, and I'm like, okay, I have a full ride, but what if the school cuts like funding or something? I still have to have money to have a full ride. So that's what caused me to apply for, I think in undergrad, I applied for a total of 200 scholarships over the course of those 4 years. And I never had to pay for school.
True. You did not want that student debt.
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh. I feel like that's me when I was applying for jobs. I applied to like over 100. But
Damn, girl, yes.
true. Okay. So, wow. Okay. I didn't even know where to start. Like, you've just given me so much. So much.
Oh,
Okay. So, when you were a freshman, how did you find those scholarships? Like, were other people who you knew applying to scholarships? You know, how were you going about it?
no. Okay, so the thing about me, I'm what they call the generic millennial, which means I'm like the stereotypical one. I don't like to do hard work. If I can do less work, we get the same results. That's me. So I knew going into college, I did not want to have a job. At least nothing that was full-time, because I was a full-time student. So I was like, okay, I'm not trying to work, but how can I make money and not work? Like, that just didn't make sense to me. And I started seeing the little bulletin boards in the College of Business that said scholarship available, deadline October 31st. I'm like, wait, what? Like, what's the GPA requirement? Okay, I have the GPA requirement. All you need is a letter of recommendation. Okay, that means I need to build a relationship with a professor that's gonna write my letters of recommendation all the time. And I start trying to figure it out, and I'm like, okay, wait. So I applied for the first scholarship. I think it was the Gala on the Bluff scholarship, which is the scholarship that they offer for Southern University College of Business students. And I applied for Gala on the Bluff, and I got it. And I was like, you mean to tell me I can make money just writing a paper or just filling out an application?
That takes like 3 minutes, maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I made $500 in 5 minutes. Let's start getting this money. So I started just Googling things like scholarships for young Black women from Louisiana, scholarships for young Black women pursuing an accounting degree, scholarships for people who are a future CPA, scholarships for people who may not be a future CPA. Like, I was looking at every single thing, scholarships with parents that are still married, like looking for every single thing. If it was out there, if I even saw a hint of it, I was looking at it. Like scholarships for students who were in more than 5 organizations on campus. Like every single thing I could look up that applied to me, I was like looking like crazy. So no one around me was applying. I think that was a bit discouraging, but also encouraging to see that once I did apply, I started receiving a lot of things. And don't get me wrong, there were a lot of scholarships that I applied to that I did not get. Like even now, like as a grad student, I'm like, okay, let me apply for the scholarship. Oh, I didn't get it. Like, I'm a good student. What do you mean I did not get it? Like, so just all these different things that I didn't necessarily account for. Like, my mind was just like, apply, I get, apply, I get. That's not how it works. So that was a bit discouraging, to say the least, to say like, okay, I'm not getting everything I applied for. What can I do different? And so, yeah, I mean, it genuinely was just, I would say every 2 weeks I was searching for new scholarships. And there's a scholarship website called jlbscholarships.com, and they have a variety of scholarships, like by age, by gender, by race, ethnicity, like everything. And they have them listed in order by deadline. So you're able to follow it. And I mean, I think they have like 100 scholarships a month. So even if you just apply for 2 scholarships every month for the course of your 4 years of college, I mean, you're pretty set right there. That's close to 100 scholarships. So it truly was just trying to figure out the best way to make money and not have to do hard labor.
Yeah, no. So, okay, so I'm definitely going to put that in the description, JLV
Scholarship.
scholarship. Okay, yeah. No, but that honestly makes a lot of sense. Like when you're saying it's about thinking smart than thinking hard. And
Yeah.
I know on campus, like when I was at school, like what you're saying on the walls, like people really don't read like things
Yeah.
on the walls. Like so many opportunities passing by, people don't apply. Like I don't get it. I remember there was because I honestly never really looked at anything else since I was undertaking a scholarship, but I never really looked at anything. And then when I looked at one on the wall and like to hear that, oh, everyone who applies for it got it because no one would have
Yep.
applied. So
Yep.
I don't know why people, I don't know, but it's like what you're saying with this generation, people just don't like to read.
Yeah.
Just take the extra time to look at stuff.
Mm.
Um, but basically, so what has been the biggest difference you've seen from applying for undergraduate scholarships and graduate scholarships,
Um,
if there's any?
Really nothing. I think the biggest thing is like just essay requirements. Like maybe for undergrad they want 250 words, and for grad they want 500. Or maybe 500 and 1,000. That's really it. I haven't seen any substantial differences because full-time grad is only 6 hours and full-time undergrad is 12 hours. So for some scholarships, they may say full-time undergrad or full-time grad, and that allows you to kind of be flexible there. But typically there's not many differences between undergrad and graduate scholarships, to be honest. It just depends on whoever the supplier is. So if it may be Send Me an Angel, I may say, well, for graduate students, you need to have a 3.5 GPA, but for undergrad, you can have a 3.0. So it just depends. It literally varies by every single scholarship.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna tap into Send Me an Angel scholarship, but like for the scholarships you applied for, so you said usually it's just GPA requirement, essay, and yeah. So what type of essays do these scholarships usually have? So like people who have not applied to scholarships, what should they expect?
Yeah. I would say maybe start with really, it's community service. They want to know, how has community service impacted you? What community service are you doing that's impacting the world? What are your future plans? How do you plan to use the scholarship? How can the scholarship help advance your career or help get you to the career that you desire? Let's see. I would say some other topics typically are around like your work, how you want to change the world, or either the other topic would be some, they may give you like a sentence or a phrase and ask you how does it interpret into your life. Like I remember one scholarship I applied to like 2 weeks ago was like, death and life is in the power of the tongue. What does that mean to you? Write 500 words.
Wait, what?
Exactly. So it's like, you want me to write about the power of words? Okay. But then you may interpret it and say, oh, well, no, they actually want you to write about the structure of the body and how you use, like, so it's just how you interpret it. So they leave it up to interpretation. So I would say maybe that's the other thing that they look for in scholarships, like essays. It's how can you interpret what I'm asking you? Because everybody's interpretation is different. Like they may say, what are the fixed costs of a business? And you say, well, it depends. Where is the business located? All these things. Well, they may only be looking for the office and the employees. But you may say, oh, well, no, I was thinking, well, if it's located in Louisiana, you got to be prepared for a hurricane. You never know how people will interpret things. So it's all up to interpretation for scholarship essays, to be honest.
Yeah, no, and I think what you're saying is really true, because also what I've seen is with these scholarship applications, they really want, again, your interpretation, but they want your personality.
Yep.
So in really sharing your personality and your story and whatever unique thing you have. I remember there was this program I'd gone for, and it was sponsored by a scholarship. And so the people who reviewed our applications were just like talking to us about our applications, whatever. And this one guy, it was a simple question, but the way he replied it, I was like, we really have different brains. Like we really think different. But like that's what you're saying, because they're looking for something different. So you don't want to be too generic, because imagine you don't know how many scholarships they're going to look at. So no matter how simple you may think your background is, be it wherever you're from or whatever things influenced you growing up, like mention those things. Like for me, I know with my scholarships, I used to shy away from really talking about, maybe my family or how my grad influenced me or just anything like that, or my growing up. And I started diving into that, and I think you just have so much peace when you write it, and you feel like I've just put everything, and it will show when you get that the money.
Yes, get the coins, get the coins.
It will show. But okay, let's talk about Send Me an Angel Scholarship. Oh, I love the name. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like Angel, this is really dope. But like, what caused you to start this? Because I know, how people are like, oh, people usually start these things when they're billionaires, millionaires. I know you're going to get there, but like, yes, but like, what caused you to just go for it?
Let's see. Okay, so this is the 4th year of the scholarship. So
Wait, do you mind saying like how many years you've been out of school for, or like how old you are, so people could just see that you can do it?
Yeah. So I am 24 years old. I have been out of school for about 2 years. I graduated in May of 2018, but I started the program my junior year, going into my junior year, the summer of my junior year. And it came, let's see. So I've always been a person that like loves to give back, loves to help others, as you mentioned in the intro. My best thing, like I believe my purpose here on earth is like how can I best serve others? And I do that through education. Like I know that whenever I decide to leave finance, I'm gonna go be a teacher. Like I'm certain of that. Just because my biggest thing is like, how can I help you excel in life? Because I think we get really caught up in the idea of like, oh, I'm helping this person because like, oh, I gave them some money. And so we kind of do it as like, oh, look at me. Like, I just did this. Like, you really won't hear me talk about how much I give the students in my Send Me an Angel scholarship. Like, of course, if you ask, I'll tell you. But I'm never going to be like, oh, I just gave this girl $1,000. Like, she better go get her degree. Like, she has to do this, and this. She owes me. Like, no, if she gets the degree, she gets it. If she doesn't, she doesn't. And I have always been in the space of giving from the idea that I'll receive more later, not necessarily from that person, but for whatever way God plans to bless me, that's how I will receive it. And so this started just with talking to different students, talking to people from my hometown, Shreveport, who are like, I need scholarship money. Where do I even go? Like, there's no scholarships for people from Shreveport. Well, I can fix that. So let's start a scholarship program. And so it started for the first 2 years. It was only for young Black women that graduated from Shreveport High School. Now it has morphed into something a bit bigger. I have 2 scholarships now, one for young Black women who graduated from my high school in Louisiana, and then another one that's nationwide, and that's for HBC women, Black women, young Black women at HBCUs, at any HBCU, does not matter, as long as I can verify that your school's an HBCU. And so it's been interesting. It's been an interesting journey. I think I got a little bit of a shocker. Like, I had my first winner in 2016. She was incredible. She's doing well now. She graduates in the spring. Like that, like she's been kind of on top of things. And then my second year's winner, she was supposed to go to an HBCU, ended up going to a different one. She decided she's going to a different one the week before school. And then she texted me mid-year and was like, yeah, I'm not doing the school thing. And I was like, but you got my money. Like, you got my money because you said you were going to school. And so that was a bit tough to kind of shift into that transition. But it's like, okay, like life happens for people. Like you have to be understanding of that. And that doesn't take away from my impact. That doesn't take away from my giving to her and pouring into her life. So at that point, then what does life look like now? And so this program will continue to grow every single year. Like, I want it to get to the point where I am giving away full ride scholarships every year for 4 years for each of the students. Of course, that's not going to be this year or next year, but it will happen. And it's something this is something that I'm very passionate about. Like, I think diversity and inclusion, not only in the workspace, but also in education, really matters. And so everybody that goes through this program receives some form of mentorship, whether it's from me, whether it's from somebody that I know, whether it's from someone that I can be like, hey, Ruparo, I know you were doing accounting. Let me connect you with this person really quick. And it's more of a mentor program, even students that don't necessarily but that also get students that don't get a scholarship can also get mentorship. I'll say that. And so, like, I have one student, she applied for actually the scholarship 4 years ago, and she didn't get it. It was very close second, but she didn't get the scholarship. And I mean, even now to this day, she's my mentee, and she reaches out for absolutely anything she needs. And it's just about relationship building, because although she didn't get the scholarship, I mean, years down the road, she's gotten more. And so it's all about what impact I believe that I'm leaving, and I want it to be a positive one. I want it to be one of helpfulness, rooted in genuineness, rooted in generosity, like rooted in giving to ultimately receive later, giving to bless others, not from the place of boastfulness, but from the place of humbleness. So that's Simi and Angel.
Ew, that was so deep. I'm just like, wow, this person is just walking, living, running in their purpose.
Yes.
That's so beautiful. And
thank you.
And I think, okay, honestly, this is like my brag on Angel moment, but like definitely, honestly, I think you are such a giver. I remember, like my first times when I was really learning just about, the college of business, learning about recruiting and all of that stuff. And you would drive me to these places for, well, we have a meeting at this place. Oh, we're doing this. Gave me my first portfolio. You're like, maybe you need suits. Okay, what size are you? Like all these things. You just pour into people,
Yeah.
And even I remember when we went to the first NABA, my first conference at NABA, and literally just pouring into people, helping people practice the night before for the interviews, literally pushing people stand up, talk, like putting people out there. And I think that's definitely something within your purpose, and it's just so beautiful to see that even though you're doing all these things, you constantly put time to give back to people, and it's inspiring. It really is.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's something I believe that life is about multitasking, and being able to find your balance. So like work may be stressful for me, school may be hectic for me, but like where I believe at some point everybody needs to have peace. Like if you live a life of continuous stress, of continuous lack of balance, like you're going to at some point have to find something that draws you peace. Mm-hmm. And typically if you never find that in the beginning, the middle and the end forces you to choose something that maybe you should not rely on, right? So because of that, I'm like, okay, well, what makes me happy? Diversity and inclusion makes me happy. How does diversity and inclusion impact everybody else? Well, it's not just having a Black coworker on your team that changes her hair every few days to be like, oh yeah, like, is that a wig? What? Like, that's not what diversity and inclusion is. Diversity and inclusion is like having the conversations, because for a lot of people, right, I'm the first, especially at the company that I work for, I'm the first Black person that they've ever interacted with in their 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years of life. Like, they're like, a Black girl, a smart one from Southern? No, so you go to LSU, right? I'm like, no, it's Southern. They're like, by LSU? Isn't that at LSU? Like, God.
They're like, Southern what? Southern Methodist? Southern? I'm like, no.
That is it. And it's just like, so figuring out how to best serve young Black women, give them the opportunities that a lot of us didn't have. I don't think, like, I did not get my opportunity at my current company without Black women. Like, a Black woman was my recruiter when I first got there. She introduced me to the company, and she was like, hey, have you ever heard of this company? And I'm like, no, like, what are you talking about? It sounds weird. It's Saks Fifth Avenue. No, that's not it.
Actually, could you tell us about that story? Because that story, I'm like, shoot, wow, there's a God.
There is. Yeah, I can switch into that really quick. My sophomore year, 2015. Yeah, 2015. Sophomore year of college, I went to my first NABA conference as the president of the Southern University student chapter. And I got there, felt pretty confident about everything. I feel like they had things lined up very well. You were able to meet the employers before everybody else, just as your student leader, to advocate for your school, to let them know, like, your school had these really great people, come meet them. And after one of the student night sessions, I was getting on the elevator on the phone with my dad, because if you know me, you know that I'm always talking to my dad. And I have my earphones in, and this woman hops on the elevator, but she was trying to catch it, and she jumped very fast. And when she jumped, I jumped, and my resume fell out of my hand. And so she picks it up, and I'm like trying to put it back in my portfolio. And I was trying not to be rude, because, like, woman, I don't know you. Give me my resume. But you know, she jumped. She's like, oh, this is impressive. I'm like, yeah, thanks. You mind if I have it back? Like, I didn't really care to hear anything she had to say, to be completely honest. And bless her heart, I'm so sorry if you watch this. But yeah, so she gives me the resume back. She's like, hey, have you ever heard of, I'll say the company's name. Have you ever heard of Goldman Sachs? And I'm like, no. And all you hear in my headphones, because my dad was still on the phone, I hear in my headphones is, oh my goodness, baby girl, do you know what that is? And I'm trying to keep a straight face, because my dad is acting like a psychopath. And I'm like, no, I've never heard of them. And she's like, okay, well, you know, let's chat more. Here's what the company is. Here's what we do. And she gave me basically an elevator pitch, like a 30-second to 45-second review and summary of the company. She's like, I would love to interview you tomorrow. I'll put some time down to interview you. Yeah. Well, I get a call maybe 10 minutes after I got into my room saying that my interview was scheduled for 8 o'clock the following morning. And I was a bit overwhelmed, because you don't get an interview in 12 hours. Like, that's a lot, especially for a company you don't know. Well, at the time, I didn't know what to research about a company when it came to interviews. I was just winging it, to be completely honest. Like, because, you know, they always say, like, well, research the company before you go. Mm-hmm. Well, if a company of this size, what am I researching? the good things that happen, the bad things that happen. When did they IPO? Like, you don't know what to look for. So I get in the interview and she asks me all these questions like stock price, all these technical questions. And I'm like, girl, I am a sophomore, like a new sophomore. I don't know what you are talking about. But I made up some numbers. I can see that. If she asked what was the stock price, go 24.50. Does that sound right? The way you look at it don't sound right. Okay, 99.74.
Oh my gosh, even have the sense in the age.
I'm a lie, okay? It's gonna be a good lie. So she's just laughing. She's like, she's like, you have such a good personality, but you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Give me the opportunity. Like, we could figure it out, girl. So I left the student conference and she said I would hear back, but I had never heard back. And so maybe 3 months later, I get a call saying like, hey, this is Goldman Sachs and we're having interviews. I think it was like the following week. She's like, we're having interviews on next Thursday and Friday in our New Jersey office. Are you willing to come up to participate in the interviews, the on-site interviews? First of all, you are calling me a week in advance. And this is when I was new to the recruiting game. So I'm like, am I supposed to pay for this flight? Oh, me to pay for a last minute flight to New Jersey? Girl. I was like, well, I'm sorry. I have to be in Dallas for a PwC interview. She says, okay, we can fly you from Dallas. Wait, but that's not what I was saying. So I was so confused. So long story short, they fly me up to New Jersey. I had 3 rounds of interviews, only one of which I thought I did well in. The other 2, I was just like, what just asked me about finance? Like, I hadn't even taken a finance class to understand what he could possibly be saying. So I'm like, what? The stock did the who? And then the other interview, it was with a NABA member. He was pretty high up in NABA, and he was just very rude to me. And he was like, I'm just very disappointed. Like, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you aren't asking me any questions to be disappointed by, sir. To this day, I don't like that man, but that's another story. he ruined my experience. Like, I felt so confident because I'm about to interview with my only Black man of the day. And then I get in there and he's like, yeah, you're from NABA, you're representing NABA, and this is how you interview. Yeah. I'm like, well, I don't know anything about this company. I don't want to come up here. Y'all call me.
You saved my flight. You called me. You
like, you did this, not me. So, long story short, as you can see, I did get an offer, but I was so nervous to go to New York City, I declined. And they were like, decline? Do you know who we are? I'm like, I said no the first time. What do you want me to? No, I don't know you. And so they basically, they did some really good convincing to get me to come to New York because I was very afraid. And so I had to, because I was going to accept my PwC offer. I had to decline PwC and accept Goldman, and it was just like, I am making the biggest decision of my life to go to New York City. What if I get a full-time offer and have to move to New York City? You mean to tell me this small-town girl from Shreveport, Louisiana is about to move to New York City? Yeah. Girl. And then people would say, girl, they got rats the size of you. Like, I don't want to go nowhere where they got rats the size of me. Like, girl, it was just absolutely ridiculous. And I mean, I think the biggest thing about it truly with that entire experience is you can have people talk you out of your dream. Like, New York was never a part of my dream. I don't think at any point in my life, if you would have said, Angel, you're going to New York City, maybe if you would have said that 5 years ago, I'd be like, oh, you're on drugs. That's so cute. Like, I would have never believed you. But it took somebody coming in to say, if you go to New York, you can always go back to Louisiana later, or you can always go back to the South later. You never have to live there full time. Like, are you okay? And I'm like, like, if I move to New York, it's not a permanent thing. Like it's a temporary thing. Okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
And just being able to have someone, and I guess I don't want to say talk me out of my dream, but talk me out of my plans. Like teach me how to pivot. I think that was a word that I learned my sophomore year that has truly changed my life. Like it's a 5-letter word that means so much to me. Like pivot, like be willing to literally change the course of your direction, change the course of your
Learn that early, like
yeah.
early.
Yeah, and it's like learn it. It's like the sooner I learned it and understood it, the more open I was to the opportunities of life. Like it's like, okay, yeah, you going to New York, okay, but and I stayed in like Washington Heights, which is like above Spanish Harlem, and I'm like, okay, there's not a lot of Black people around here. This isn't the New York that I thought I was gonna get. Like, where are the big rats that are like? It was just like, okay, now that I've actually lived it, I don't have the fear that everybody else was trying to put on me. And I think that's also a really big thing, like learning not to take others' fear. And like how the recruiter that I met, how he just took a chance on me, and she was just like, okay, here you go, girl. Like, you don't know nothing about what you're talking about, but get it together. And so just having someone who actually believed in me enough to say, hey, Black girl, here's your chance. That led me to having the desire to start my scholarship. That led me to being able to say, okay, yeah, I could live in New York for a few years. Like, and I mean, of course, now hindsight is 2020. New York has been the best decision of my life. Like, I couldn't imagine starting any sort of post undergraduate career not in New York, just because, and not even the job, like the city itself, the opportunities that the city brings, just being able to pivot your day to day. Like maybe you had plans to just go to dinner on Monday, but you get to dinner and then you meet somebody that's going to this concert and it's like, oh, well, pivoting my night plans. Like I'm going to this concert with you. And just really like, I think I took pivot to heart because it really meant so much to me to be able to say like, my life plans were to move to Dallas after college, work for a Big Four firm, maybe leave Big Four and do something else, maybe, and then go into teaching and figure it out. But it was all going to be in Dallas. Now I'm like, I can move to Dallas, but it's going to be temporary. Like it's just, I'm so open to opportunities. Like now I would even be willing to live internationally. Like life is so big.
Yeah.
And no longer limit myself. Like I think that meeting that woman in the elevator literally changed my life. Like what if I would have just been like, oh girl, my headphones in, can you just get my resume back? Thanks. Like instead of like, oh, what's the name of your company? Like, hold, Dad, let me call you back, please stop screaming, hang up the phone. Like, and just have the conversation with her. Like that, those are the two decisions I had to make, and either hang up the phone from my dad and talk to this woman, or talk to my dad and ignore the woman. Like that decision in itself was, I never would have known that would have been the biggest decision of my life, because everything else after that made sense. Like again, like I mentioned earlier, operating from a place of peace. I believe in that. So I knew talking to her, I didn't feel any sort of like I didn't feel any frantic, like I didn't feel any sort of distress in my spirit. So I'm like, oh well, I could talk to this woman, it ain't no problem. Like, okay, we could talk. Like it just kind of being like, it is what it is. Yeah, I would just say like, as long as you're open to every opportunity. Like I believe that we serve a God. If you do not believe in God and you're watching this video, whatever higher power you believe in, because you do believe in one, we all serve a higher power that will never lead us to a place where we should not be. Whether it seems like a bad time in the moment, every single decision that you make is for the betterment of your future self. It's just up to you to reach that betterment of your future self, because every decision that you make, small or large, is going to play a part in that.
Yeah, no, you just gave like a whole sermon at the end. Because right to church, I'm snap. And it's a Sunday. I will snap on it. Yes. Yes. No, that's so true. Just being open to opportunities and not putting yourself in a box.
Yeah.
I think that really ties back to so many things, you know, like you're talking of being on the elevator, right? And you didn't know, but you opened yourself to that opportunity. Which, I mean, this is a whole discussion on its own of like the whole elevator pitch and everything. But
Right.
that, and then even when you said with when you were applying to scholarships, right? You just were open and you just did it. Um, I remember there was a time when again I don't know where you were driving me to somewhere, and
Somewhere.
you were telling me of like this scholarship and this opportunity, and I was like, how do you find these scholarships? And you're like, girl, I just be applying. I just apply. I don't know what I apply to, and I literally took on that. You know, that mantra. I was like, you know what? If Angel's just applying to everything and she does all these things, let me also just apply. You know,
Just girl.
yeah, just applying and being open to everything because you really never know. And I think it's you know how they say even when people are applying for jobs, right? Like women will, if they don't feel qualified, they won't apply, right? And like most of the times men and guys, they will still apply even if they don't feel qualified. And at first I used to be like, no, these people are just coming for women, until I started experiencing it and I was like, whoa, you need to just apply, just to do it, like just apply. You know.
My biggest thing has really always been, and I learned this from my mom, is like, what's the worst they will say? And then does that matter? Like, okay, yeah, you said this. Ah, man, that sucks. I wasn't trying to listen for your opinion. Like, you should have told me to listen for your opinion. I still would have done it. Like, great. And just being able to truly make those decisions that sometimes scare you,
Mm.
sometimes make you uncomfortable. But I think in moments of the uncomfortable, ah, that's the best time to live. Like that you are literally pushing yourself, like pushing yourself beyond your limits, pushing yourself out your comfort zone, pushing yourself to believe that, okay, maybe I don't deserve this, but what if I get it anyway? And then it's that feeling of like, I'm almost there. Like I almost got what I said I don't deserve. And then you get it and you're like, wait, that means I deserve it because I got it. Like it's those moments where you truly realize who you are, like and what your purpose was on this earth, not just what you're meant to do in the moment, because although momentary decisions are extremely important, the plans that we have forward looking, and not saying that you shouldn't plan for the now, but the decisions you make for the now will affect the future so much more drastically if you are unprepared. But if you're prepared, you're like, oh girl, like you said you want to do what you need to do a call today. Okay, let's do a call today. But I never know who this YouTube video might impact in a year, in 6 months. And it's like, oh well, hey Angel, I need a mentor. Would you mind helping me navigate the Wall Street landscape, navigating the young Black woman in corporate America landscape? Like those conversations, like you never know what this moment may lead to. So prep yourself, be open, be accepting, and be willing, and pivot. That's what I would always tell
Yeah.
myself.
No, that's true. Even I guess if I look back at me, that time when you stopped me in the college of business, if I'd be like, "Who is this girl?" Like, what
Who is this crazy girl yelling at me?
exactly? I'm just trying to go to the bathroom and leave. Like, you know, if I hadn't, like, I honestly don't think I would be where I am because just you know, you open my eyes to so many things, and you really
Yeah.
believed into me and poured into me, and you done that with so many people. So yeah, I just think that people really should be open. But I mean, as we wrap this up, are there any other, you know, final words you would have to say for people who, again, applying for scholarships or just applying for anything? I feel like we have already kind of hit on that already,
Yeah.
but is there anything else you'd like to leave?
I would just say don't be discouraged. Like you will get way more no's than yeses, and that's fine. Um, because that means the yeses will mean way more. That means that the yeses will feel like a warm hug on a cold day. And those are the feelings that you need to cherish. Like the no's are going to make you sad. The no's are going to make you frustrated. like as someone who was in the job search pool for a while, who applied to tens of probably hundreds of jobs and got told no because I didn't have a particular set of experience, or I didn't have the years of experience or the degree that they were looking for, or maybe even the GPA that they were looking for, whatever the heck the case is. Like at the end of the day, every yes that I've received has put me on the right path to where I need to be. And I think that is so important. Like you will get told no, and that is fine. I think every no you should just welcome and be like, what is I thinking? No day, but this is what you want to do. All right, girl. And don't be bitter. Like when you get a no, it's okay. Don't be bitter, be better. I live by that. Like there will be moments that will make you bitter. There will be moments that will make you upset. There will be moments that will make you almost want to fight somebody at whatever the company is as a scholarship. Cause you're like, you mean to tell me this application wasn't good? The one that I actually spent the time on? Like I don't spend time on nothing else, but the one I spent the time on, you don't tell me no? Like we all have those moments, like whether it comes out like that or not. Like it's just like I put my hard-earned time into this. Like I put my love into this. What are we doing? So truly just being understanding of life. Life happens. Life will always happen. Just let all of your yeses come naturally. Don't force a yes, because everything that is meant for you has already been mapped out for you and is already planned for you. So yeah, that will be my final words.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I think definitely saying just don't be discouraged, because honestly what is for you will be for you, and everything happens for a reason. I truly truly believe in that,
Yes.
because like what you're saying, you could receive hundreds of no's for anything you're applying for, really.
Yeah.
But honestly, I really think that God will put you in a place that you need. So those no's, they were not meant to be for you, because this other thing that was greater was coming.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Even if you do get a no, like you never know, that no may turn into a yes a few months down the line, especially when it comes to jobs. Like they keep your resumes on file for 3 to 5 years. Like you never know. It may be like, oh no, you did not fit this position, but you fit this one beautifully. Like you never know. So never be discouraged.
Yeah, no. So thanks so much, Angel, for time to join us. I know you're really busy. And I don't know if your scholarships are still open. If they are.
It's the last day. Today's the last day. Yeah, I had to push it back. I pushed it back a week to give people more time to apply. But yeah, today's the last day. And then I think I might do something in the spring. So if you follow me on Instagram _AYECEECEE, you will see any updates for scholarships. But I think I'm gonna end up doing one in the spring, just because I think I might double it up this year.
Blessings. Like what you're saying, you give more, the Lord bless.
Yeah, if more comes, girl, and I'm excited about it. Yes.
Yes. I mean, I'll definitely put your Instagram information in the description. Definitely follow Angel, and she has tons and tons of energy, I tell you. And she's always sharing opportunities. Definitely, if you're looking for opportunities for, like scholarships, etc., follow her, take a look at her scholarship program. And like she said, she does mentor. She honestly was my first mentor. I didn't even know what the word mentor was. To be
I know.
I didn't even know. I was like, mentor, like what does that do?
No.
So yeah, but yeah, thank you everyone for joining us, and stay tuned for more videos that we'll be sharing. I'm sure would honestly love to have Angel back with more things, because there's so many things that she has to share, so many things I would like her to share with you all, that I've learned from her. So yeah, we'll definitely plan to have more videos. So
Yes, ma'am. All right, bye, guys.
let me stop recording.